Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Media Buff Podcast, a show about anything and everything media related. I'm your host, Ed, and with me, my fellow co host. First off, my lovely wife, Jen, i.e., Lady Deep Dive. Say hello.
Hello.
Master Matt, master of tangents and other random obscure information. Matt, say hello.
Hi. How y'all doing?
Our lady Hyperfocus, who is running on fumes, so we're going to have to try to make this one real fast. Lane, say hello.
Greetings.
And of course, sultry voice Omar, who is here with us once again.
Good evening, everyone. How
There
are
it
you
is.
doing tonight? Everybody doing well? Better get ready for that holiday next week.
Oh yeah, Valentine's Day is coming up. All right. So for this episode, it's actually been a year in the making because if you've been listening to our show, we did review the first season of this, which is Castlevania Nocturne. We reviewed it back in October of 2023. Do you guys remember that?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah.
That's when it was still just me, Matt, and Omar. We had a friend chime in with that episode, Caesar, but this time we have a full house and we're going to be talking about season two. It's a spoiler free review. So, John, if you're listening, don't worry about it. You can listen to the episode without us ruining anything. Although, honestly, this is one of those shows, if you're a fan, you probably saw it the moment it dropped. So, I feel like a lot of the fans that are probably listening to this review are already probably familiar with the season that we're going to be talking about.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Omar, why don't you go ahead and do a quick recap of season one of Castlevania Nocturne, then
All
a
right.
quick synopsis of the plot for season two.
Well, for those of you who know about the Castlevania games, this game is based on what would it come out on Super Nintendo, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. The
Yup,
game's
almost every
Castlevania.
console.
Yeah, it came out on different consoles, but it focuses on Richter. The games are Castlevania,
Rondo of Blood.
Rondo Blood slash Dracula X Chronicles, with tidbits here and there of Castlevania Bloodlines based on certain characters that are pulled in from the Bloodlines game and taken into this era. But it takes place during the French Revolution, and it focuses on the latest heir to the Belmont clan, which is Richter Belmont. And it starts off with him as a child witnessing his mom get killed by an Aztec vampire called Olorox.
Mm-hmm.
Typical revenge story that starts off with. Season one kind of started. The whole of season one was pretty rocky because it's basically again
Yeah.
French Revolution. You get Richter and Maria trying to stop vampires here and there, but then they end up getting sucked into this whole vampire messiah cult thing when they are saved by two other vampire hunters from the Caribbean. One is Edward, and who was an opera singer,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one, which is another character based off, it's taken from the Rondo of Blood game, Annette. And this, like in the previous Castlevania series, they do take liberties on what the characters are or how do they portray the characters. Because in the game, Annette was already Richter's girlfriend. She was a damsel in distress type character, but in this show, they changed her into Caribbean descent. She is basically an earthbender.
Yeah.
She has the ability to manipulate and control earth / metal. And she's descended from bloodline of gods, of ancient gods. But she is such a fucking badass.
Yeah, she
character.
is. Very good character revamp for her.
Yes. So I like what they did with her character. Essentially, yeah. So the whole gang gets together and they need to try and stop the vampire messiah from becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And season one basically ended the way Empire Strikes Back did. On a cliffhanger. Yeah. The good guys lose, bad guys win.
Yeah.
Everybody's fucked. However, and again, this is from season one that came out, what, in 2023?
Yep.
Or something like
2023. It's been a little over a year in the making.
Yeah. Richter and his people get their asses saved by none other than Alucard.
Alucard.
My favorite fucking character in the whole of the whole franchise. Season two picks up a little bit after the end of season one. The heroes are licking their wounds and they're trying to figure out what to do, how how to stop the vampire messiah, and Richter's trying to come to terms with his bloodline, with his history, and Annette is trying to come to terms with her history and her bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically just a quick synopsis of it. It's picking up after season 1, licking their wounds, regrouping, revamping, and then they kick ass.
Yeah, they come up with a plan to stop the whole vampire messiah coming to fruition.
Yep.
Which it's a pretty interesting take on the whole thing of vampires ascending to godhood. Now, does that scale with the video game?
Yeah, they go all out in the Castlevania games, whether it's the Universal Studios monsters being revamped into god tier, boss tier levels, to fairy tales from different cultures, Native American, African, Greek, European, Greek, Egyptian, all that. They even and again in season 2 of Nocturne, Aztec, they change all rocks from some typical European vampire dude to an ancient Aztec vampire.
Yeah.
Plus his beast form is fucking amazing. That winged serpent.
So going from there, why don't you kind of like talk about some of the things that you liked about this particular season compared to the previous season?
Well, like I said, the first season was kind of picking up, was trying to follow in the big shoes to fill the original series of Castlevania. It was kind of sloppily done because it wasn't being produced by Adi Shankar, who did the original Castlevania and who's currently working on Devil May Cry series.
Oh, okay.
It was a whole legal dispute between the him and the production company, so it was a whole bit behind the scenes thing. So it doesn't have the same showrunners as the original. So they kind of were trying to find their footing, trying to make their own identity away separate from the original Castlevania series.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of hiccups. A lot of people were saying that there was not enough character development for the side characters that were deemed important from the games that they pulled. Like Annette didn't get a lot of screen time or development in the first season, but they mostly focus on Richter and his issues. But since they already fleshed out Richter in the first season, they decided to focus more on Annette and Maria, which are two key characters in the games.
I agree. Yeah.
And even when Alucard came back, they didn't really necessarily need to focus on him because he already got his development from the original
first
series.
Castlevania.
Yeah, he had 4 seasons.
Yeah. And Nocturne takes place about 400 years after the original series. So it's the same Alucard. He has the same history. And he's even mentioned that he was part with the Belmont clan for over the centuries, but he just got tired of watching his friends die. So he just
went on his own.
Yeah, he did his own bit for a couple hundred years.
And during season 2 conversations with Richter, he does bring up Trevor and Sypha quite a bit.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember some of the scenes. There's one particular scene that just reminded me of the end of the first season where he's fighting with his dad and Dracula comes to the realization that he's gone over the deep end and he's crying and you know, I'm hurting our boy, and he's talking to Elisa, his dead wife, and he just tells him like, you know what, I'm sorry, son, you were right, and he basically tells him to kill him. So that conversation he has with Maria, was it Maria or was it Annette?
It was Maria.
It was Maria.
And then just the callback to that particular scene, I'm like, I choked up a little bit because that scene, even now, like it chokes me up a little bit.
The actors who portrayed these characters from the very first season, oh my god! And the guy who voiced Dracula in that series, perfect. Like he captured the tragedy of the Dark Lord.
I was telling Jen about it because she doesn't know anything about the series either. She came into it fresh, just like I did when we did the first season, but the first season review. By the way, I'm bummed we didn't review the first Castlevania. I wish we could have done that. I mean, we can.
Doesn't mean we can't. I mean, we could always just do a refresher.
Yeah, but I was telling her his story, and it's like, oh, and she's like, oh my god, like they got what they had coming because they messed with the wrong guy.
All right, so let me say this for the listeners who don't know anything about Castlevania. Castlevania is based off Bram Stoker's Dracula novels. They got heavily influenced by Bram Stoker.
Nice.
in the video game series, Dracula is a tragic villain rather than just a straight on world dominating
Monster.
villain. And Symphony of the Night is where you get a lot of his backstory because of Alucard. Alucard is the half human, half son of Dracula. He's a half vampire, half human. A Dampier is what they're called. And Alucard's mom, Elizabeth, she was burned at the stake by the church because they claimed that she was a witch. And well, in the games, it's because she was Dracula's lover. In the series, is because she was a woman of science. She was a doctor.
And they thought she was a witch.
Yeah, she went to Dracula to learn more so that she could become more effective as a medical, like in the medical field. And it was because of Lisa that Dracula reclaimed his humanity. And in the series, he spent the entire time that they were married together, the entire time that they had Alucard and all that, Dracula had not had a single drop of human blood. He didn't kill. He lived life as a man, as basically what Lisa challenged him to do.
Yeah.
Dracula was in love with her, and she was everything to him.
Oh, yeah.
So when he came back from traveling after the first season of Castlevania and found out that his wife was murdered and falsely accused of witch, he went on a rampage.
He went off the deep end, yeah.
No, it's like
I mean, can't blame him, man. Can't blame the guy.
That's actually pretty accurate too.
Yeah. And then the thing is, though, Alucard, his real name is Adrian. Adrian Fahrenheit Tepesh. He tries and stand between Dracula and his forces of darkness to kill the humans. Alucard even says, like, if you're gonna punish the people, then punish the ones responsible. These people are innocent. There's children down there. The fuck are you doing? And well, Dracula basically says there are no innocents, and the way he shouted that or screamed out that line, it's just pure.
Yeah.
So Alucard was given the name Alucard because it's a reverse of Dracula.
Dracula.
He stands. He's the antithesis of Dracula. Dracula wants to kill humanity. Alucard is going to save and protect them.
Yeah.
But they are both goddamn powerful, like god tier in levels of power.
Well, I was also going to say, when Dracula said there are no innocents, like, you can only agree with him because, well, the church celebrated the day of his wife's death. He gave him a chance to get out, and
give them a year, bro. A year to get their shit and get out.
And then they just pretty much gave him a giant middle finger and said, "Fuck you." He's like, "Okay, now I kill you all."
Yeah. But way off topic.
Yeah, I know. I just want to give it a
I feel like it is crucial to this, and folks, if you're listening and you haven't seen the first season of Castlevania, definitely check it out because it does help you understand the new series. I guess you can call it series of these ones. Are you done, Omar? You got any more to add?
Well, I was going to continue on with Nocturne. So
no, I'm saying, like, are you like done kind of like adding stuff that you like about it, or you got
no, there's still more I want to add to that.
All right, go for it.
One of the things that the Castlevania series has been known for since its inception, and Nocturne, especially in season 2, did not cut any corners on it, was definitely the fight choreography. In the video game lore, they say that at that time, during this French Revolution, the 18th century, Richter was the most powerful Belmont at the time, Matt. Okay, but he's also the most gifted in terms of martial arts, and they display that perfectly in season 2 of Nocturne. Yeah. I mean, they displayed it pretty well at the end of season 1.
Yeah,
but after everything that happened in season 1 and how he continues on in 2, it's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, very Street Fighter-esque.
Yes, I mean, well, that they even say that he's the Ryu of Castlevania.
I mean, he's got the bandana and everything.
Yeah. That's why.
Blue. His color's blue.
That's too. Yeah.
Even his pose, like what,
arm up in the air.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the Shoryuken.
Yeah, and no, wait. Castlevania was made by Konami. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
You got anything more to that?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. And where season 1 faltered in terms of story development and character development, season 2 heavily picked up on it. They did very well in exploring and explaining Maria's backstory and especially Annette's backstory.
Yeah.
delving into that character development and even showing a more, I guess you could say, tragic side to the villains, which is something that Castlevania has always been known for,
Mm-hmm.
showing the dichotomy of the evil and but the
Mm-hmm.
mindset evil.
Yeah.
So that's always been like the perfect blend, and it's one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite video game series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically my take. And I could add other things when other people.
All right. Lane, would you consider yourself a big fan of the franchise, the Castlevania franchise?
Not to the amount that you guys are. I mean,
Well,
I
actually,
played,
actually, just Omar and Matt. I don't know anything
yeah,
about the
I played
series.
like the first four games, but that's where I stopped.
But what about this animated series? What's your take on it?
There are parts that I like a lot about it, but there are parts that I was kind of bored of them.
Mm-hmm. All the yakety yak.
Um, Not really. I just felt like there was like so many stories with so many characters going on that we got introduced to in the season that just nothing really happened with any of them. Or it was
Mm.
like a lot of buildup and not a whole lot of out came out of it.
Delivery. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not saying that I liked it, I enjoyed it. I've
Mm-hmm.
watched it twice already.
Nice.
Um, but I think like if we had a couple more episodes, like two more
Yeah.
episodes, we could have like
Oh shit! Let's have two more seasons.
done a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more. Like instead of just being 8 episodes, a 10 episode season, we could have explained a little bit more. We could
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
given like oh, I'm not supposed to spoil anything, so I don't want to say anything, but I just feel like they just very heavily relied on Alucard being in this season, which is I understand, but it's like I don't know. I just felt like there's so many characters, and I was just like, but what about? Well, okay, that's all that happened. Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
What about
I'm
so and
sorry.
so and so and so?
Yeah, like like Alucard was like he carried the whole second season.
Well,
Yeah.
that's because I from theories say that they're gearing up to for the seasons 3 and 4. They're
Mm-hmm.
gearing up to get ready to adapt the Symphony of Night story plot.
Ah, okay.
And Symphony of Night is where Alucard stars in.
That's what I was gonna
Okay.
say. Like at this point, just give him his own series because that's all it seems like they've been doing is building up Alucard with these Castlevania shows, which
Mm-hmm.
is fine. Like he's the golden child of the whole series, so I understand
Yeah, he is.
why we want to focus on him a lot. Um, but like the whole premise of what was happening in the first season, the whole buildup of like this, vampire messiah bringing back this dead Egyptian goddess of war
Mm-hmm.
for what? Why? Do we know
To rule
why?
the world.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But like, what was the like, do we ever understand like why Drolta was so obsessed with bringing her goddess back just to have her back? Or
well,
was the goddess supposed to cause a war to bring peace? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what was the point of bringing her back?
uh, they did explain a bit of that when and towards the end of the series or the end of the season. But Drota was a priestess of
Mm-hmm.
Sekhmet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but she wanted the evil side of Sekhmet to come in and basically cause a forever night and have all the night creatures and vampires rule the world.
Mm-hmm. Basically, what Deacon Frost wanted in Blade.
In the first Blade movie, yeah, basically.
Yep, it
It's just
sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
weak.
Every
It's
vampire's goal.
weak. It's weak. It's a
it's
weak, overplayed storyline
yeah.
It is.
that they really just kind of didn't really give us much with.
But I think that's
I
why
don't
they
know.
want to do like 2 more seasons so they can like wrap it
I
up.
don't even care
Yeah.
if there's a
It's because
third
once you
season.
build somebody up, you can't leave them hanging. It's like
It's like
very anticlimactic, you know?
very Game of
Yeah.
Thronesy.
Yeah.
It was like they built up Elizabeth and she was like this big messiah and then just got like
Yeah.
wrecked.
Honestly, I feel
They
like
could have fucked her up the first season and avoided all of this shit to begin with.
it's true. But I
Because
feel
she
like
wasn't as
Elizabeth,
intense as like they played her out to be, even when she got like the
yeah.
second
Doltra
power
Doltra
boost, the
seemed
second
way more
power.
badass than she did.
Yeah.
Like,
Just But I get it. I get it. I don't know.
Yeah, they're playing the long game for these because they know that one, the fans just seeing it on the screen is enough for them, especially seeing the characters portrayed in the light of that is consistent with the game, not
Mhm.
entirely, but
Yeah.
enough that it sticks to the core of the character, but adds new stuff to them, like Annette giving her the ability to be her own hero, not having to be a damsel.
Mhm.
So I think that's why the fans are very geared up and looking forward to it because they know what's coming, especially if you're a hardcore fan and you know the lore to a T, they know what's coming. So like, oh, so they're ending it this way. That means that they're gonna do this in the next season. And that just makes them more anxious to watch the following season that comes out.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're doing like 4 seasons to this, huh, Omar?
I-
They haven't really announced if season 3 is in production yet or not.
Oh,
It,
okay.
I think right now the company is focusing on Devil May Cry, which comes out in April.
Ah, okay.
Mhm.
You got something to ask, Jeff?
Yeah, I got a question because I'm not big on. I barely started looking at some digging into Castlevania, but I just wanted to know. So, where do their powers come from? The vampire hunters, like, how did they get those?
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
Do
you want to answer?
Yeah, I got it.
Matt looks like he wants to answer it.
So
Uh,
the main there's like 2 or 3 separate timelines in Castlevania. Okay.
Okay.
The main timeline is what they're focusing or adapting into the anime series. Do you remember the second season in Castlevania, Jen?
No, because I haven't even gotten through that.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna give you guys an Easter egg. In
Okay.
season 2 of Castlevania, when Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard go to the Belmont stronghold, Trevor sees a portrait of a young knight with blonde hair. He's got red and white armor. That is Leon Belmont. He is the first Belmont to possess the vampire killer, which is the whip. Yeah, he's based off the main character he play as in the PS2 game Lament of Innocence, which is basically the start of the whole Belmont versus Dracula timeline.
Okay.
Because Dracula or Leon Belmont was best friends with some guy named Matthias Krongrist,
Okay.
who eventually ends up becoming Dracula because he did some kind of sacrificial stuff to gain power with the Bloodstone, I think it was called.
Mhm.
yeah, it was the Bloodstone.
Yeah, and because the sacrifice required Leon's girlfriend, wife, I think her name was Sarah. He Matthias turned her into a vampire in order to power up the stone. And when Leon found out, he basically swore vengeance against against Dracula, who is Matthias. And Leon Belmont cursed his whole family line to forever battle Dracula until his forces are stopped. The thing is,
Oh.
in order to create the vampire killer, which is the whip, it was by
Done through alchemy.
yeah, it was by an old alchemist who looks like Gandalf.
Nice.
I think his name is even very similar to Gandalf, but
Mhm.
in order to power it up to complete the vampire killer, it needed a sacrifice by an impure soul.
Yeah.
And that sacrifice ended up being Leon's girlfriend.
Damn.
She willingly gave her soul to power up the vampire killer to its fullest potential, gave it to Leon in order to stop Matthias.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then over the years of vampire hunting, they have learned how to kill vampires more efficiently, and they dabbled more and more into alchemy, and that's how they start to learn magic and all this other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yes and no.
Okay.
The whole point, when they started developing magic, was because their bloodline was mixed with the Belnades family, which was Sypha, and
Oh yeah, the
Sypha
sweetness.
is a very powerful magic user. So that's the reason why Zeus in Castlevania Harmony Dissonance is able to use magic, because he is related. He is directly related to the Belnades family as well as the Belmonts, and that explains why Richter is able to use certain magic spells as well, like the item crashes. Which
So is that why like all of them have like different things they can do?
yes,
Yes.
So Richter is known for his martial arts, but in the games he has this thing called item crashes. The typical sub weapons, the cross, the axe, the holy
Dagger.
water, the daggers. If he has that equipped and enough mana or points, he could basically do a full screen ultimate attack with each different item, and that's only for him. That's an ability only he has. The only other Belmont that has something similar is Julius, and he's the last Belmont in the timeline and he's the only one to officially destroy and end Dracula.
Oh, damn.
He comes out in Arya Sorrow and Donna Sorrow as a sub character.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's basically a whole tale of revenge from the 1100s.
Damn.
It's a very long tale of revenge.
Yeah, you can.
So the series, the timeline starts from the 1100s with Leon Belmont, and it ends technically in 1999 with Julius, but it continues on to 2020 something with Soma and Julius coming back.
Jeez.
Yeah, but to fight a different type of evil.
Yeah. Basically.
All right, Matt. Since we haven't heard from you, what's your take on season 2?
Okay, I really like season 2. From like I went back rewatched season 1, and I ended up liking season 1 a whole lot more my second time watching it. Like I felt like the pacing was better, and because once when I first watched it, I guess things didn't click properly, but second rewatch of it, everything came together like a giant puzzle, and everything made more sense. So I got more enjoyment out of the first season, and I saw where they were going. So everything made sense for season 2. I really like how when it shows Alucard, when he's alone and he's in Egypt, the first thing it shows is how much he's learned how to fight better and have better control of his powers. I mean, he's always been naturally gifted, obviously, because of who his father is. But it was just nice to see him use some sub weapons like his daggers.
Oh yeah, those are cool. And then constantly turning to bats to
yes, yeah. He starts using different forms and stuff like that. And I like how at the beginning of the season it showed the backstory for Doltra and why
I like that.
she set out on her quest to bring back her Egyptian goddess, and how she went through and pretty much got all these people and to see who would be a good vessel. Because Erzsébet, they're explaining in season 1, Erzsébet was the perfect vessel and the one that was strong enough to house their messiah.
Yeah, that quick backstory they gave for her, I was like, oh my gosh, that chick is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see what happens to her, and she goes crazy and starts using her followers and stuff as experiments. It was cool to actually see that.
And is that akin to the video games?
Drolta is a character in the games, but I can't remember. I think she was part of the.
What about Erzsébet?
Erzsébet is a main villain.
Yeah, she's the main villain in Bloodlines. She's of Elizabeth Bathory from.
The Countess.
Yes,
yes.
Yeah. But the way they portrayed her in the series, is it akin to the game?
I cannot tell you that because, like I said, I didn't get that far. I know that Drolta is a boss character.
Yeah, that I knew.
He's not the
and I think she was also more of a succubus than she was a vampire in the games.
It looks correctly. Like they kind of made her more of a succubus in this one, whereas she was a vampire in the first season.
Well, I think the reason why they did it I think that's the reason why, as they show you in the season 2 trailer, that she comes back as a night creature is to pay homage to that.
Yeah, she looked like a harpy lady.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was like, oh, they made her look like Harpy Lady. Now all she needs is elegant egotist to turn into 3 of them. And then the cyber armor.
Ed, you won't be too far off. Remember, both of them are based off are from Konami.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yu-Gi-Oh is from Konami as well. Me personally, the first episode, dude, it felt like 3 episodes because all the yakety yak. And I wanted to smack Maria half of the time because she was just whining and complaining the whole time.
Well,
it wasn't
After what
until
happened to
that,
her?
it wasn't until Tara, her mom, even though she's a vampire now, which, isn't a spoiler because it happened in season one. She basically told her like, "Hey, that anger you have, you got to tap into it. There's something in you that you
Well,
can draw out." And she
well,
did, but it backfired.
Mm.
well. I was gonna say with less words than that because that's kind of spoiling things. Ed,
I didn't spoil
I
anything. There's
Yes,
nothing
was
spoiled there.
yes,
I was gonna
no.
say with Maria, the one thing I liked about her is that like they did a really good job of showing how your emotions can affect your magic.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah, she
I think it was
turned
like
she turned into kind of a badass in this one.
Yep.
and like in this whole thing of yakety yak Maria crying and stuff, like her mom just sacrificed herself to become a vampire, and she finds out the one person she's been against this whole time is her father. So yeah, she's gonna have some drama issues, Ed. So stop your whining.
Too
Okay.
much yakety. Yeah, that's what I told her. Stop your whining the entire time. I'm like, oh my god, Maria, stop your whining.
She's also
Shut
like
up.
14.
She is? Oh, okay. I thought she
So
was
in
older.
in the video games, they made her. I think in the video games, I think she's either 12 or 14, but in the series, she's 16. They aged
Yeah,
her
Okay.
up a little bit.
Rega-
she's still a child, so she's gonna have those like she's
yeah.
not gonna process things like
Mhm.
I'm Mr. Mature Ed over
Mhm.
there.
Well, regardless, I mean that, like I said, that first episode just felt like it dragged on. It wasn't until after that it was like, okay, now we're getting some speed, and then up until the point where the climax happened, everything was kind of
Uh,
going smoothly, and even when you get to the point of the climax and you're seeing the characters interact with each other, they still had time to do a quick tidbit where you see, you know Richter and Annette fulfill that whole thing. Like, they're supposed to be a couple.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
I mean, it was playing at that since like they were developing that since the first season.
yeah, but I feel
Like
like
they were getting
people.
closer and closer together.
I feel
They
like
did.
that's one complaint people had though. They're like, oh, they're supposed to be together, but they're not together.
No, I actually like the buildup of them being a couple because Richter has never really seen any other strong woman, like
Mhm.
someone up to his level, besides his mom.
Except his mom, yeah.
Yeah. So someone who's able to not only be at his level but to save him from
Yeah.
from something that he's supposed to be a professional at.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, he got a hard on real quick.
No, and I like that, especially because like you guys said, this version of Annette is a complete 180. They definitely
Oh yeah,
Sigourney Weavered her, which is great. I like
yeah.
that. And then her backstory and then what she overcame is just adds to that, which is really good because we're in a time where you have female leads that are just automatically badasses and they don't overcome anything. They're just badasses off the bat. And
Mhm.
I think that's why they failed. I think that's why Captain Marvel failed because she was a badass right away and
Never seen this.
had one thing to overcome, and that was it. But you see characters like Sigourney Weaver,
Linda
uh,
Hamilton,
Linda Hamilton, heck,
Mhm.
even
Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor,
Ellen Ripley, yeah,
Xena.
and Xena, yeah, even Xena, dude, she had stuff to overcome to become who she is. Those women were so well written, and then I feel like they finally hit the note on a female character where they make her a badass, but it's not just like, oh, she's just a badass.
It's just not overnight.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Because
don't get me wrong, she was pretty badass when they introduced her in the beginning of the
she was
series.
rebellious, but she was still like
She's still
weak
this
or human.
girl. She still is
Yeah.
this girl experiencing this trauma, getting over it. And then the death of Edward didn't help.
No, well, I mean,
Well, Edward doesn't die. He becomes a night creature, and that's one thing I didn't like about this series so far is that
Edward was kind of annoying in this one, yeah.
no, he wasn't annoying. He was
He
just a
was
one note.
annoying.
He was a one note character.
There was
That
one
was
scene. There was one scene where there's a creature who kind of looks like he doesn't like him. And I guess he finally gets fed up with him, and what he does to him is just so funny because I'm like, I wanted to do that to him. And Edward was one of my favorite characters in the first season.
yeah.
well,
They
Yeah.
didn't give
Edward
they didn't
just
give him a lot of time to like develop. Unfortunately, he was the one character that was missing out on development.
That's
yeah,
true
like
because
they're like, oh, he's an
they had
opera
one
singer, and
backstory
that's
and that
all
was
he's
it.
going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, overall, the series, season two feels like a little more just like it's another stepping stone to something grander.
Hmm.
He didn't even, I mean, like, Omar, were you disappointed that, of Richter a little bit?
No,
Huh?
no,
Okay.
because like if you know the lore of the games, you know where things are gonna go with Richter, and he's
Yeah.
like I said, he's my favorite Belmont because the way he
Yeah,
can
I know
play as him,
you've gone on record.
he is my favorite Belmont.
Hmm.
The way you play as him in the game, it's fucking amazing. It's great. But again, if you know the story between Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night, you know where they're gonna go with season 3 and 4 if they do make it with Nocturne.
Yeah, going from there, like, what do you think? What do you think we can expect in season three? Can we expect like them to go exactly off the beaten path, or stay on the beaten path and continue with the story of the video games, or you think they're gonna go a little off book, a little more this time?
They're gonna go for sure. They're gonna go off book like they did with the other seasons, but
Mm-hmm.
they are gonna keep with the core concept of what
Mm-hmm.
happened in the games. Like Matt was mentioning in the chat earlier, there is a character in season 2
Mm-hmm.
shows up randomly here and there,
And
but
he's not from the video games, huh?
he's not. He is an
So this is
original
a
character.
completely new character.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
he is the original character.
Warlock refers to him as Old Man Coyote, and that's
Mhm.
and there's like a couple other
That's all we
names
can
that
say.
he
Yeah.
goes by, but it could be Death reoccurring. Like that's kind of my theory because Death has a habit of coming back
Well,
throughout the
it's death.
It's always
Castlevania
lingering.
series.
For those of you who don't know, in the Castlevania series, Death is Dracula's number 2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is a servant
Mm.
to Dracula.
Well,
So
yeah.
an elemental entity who's been around since the creation of life, essentially,
Mm-hmm.
is subservient to a chaos incarnate, which is Dracula.
I
Dracula.
wouldn't say subservient, more like he lingers around him because he knows that
No,
wherever
no,
he goes,
No,
death will
no,
I'm
no,
talking
follow.
about
no,
the
no,
video
no.
games. I'm
Oh, in
talking
the
No,
about
video
like
games. Okay.
yeah.
yeah, Death is a straight out servant to Dracula.
He is a very
Oh,
loyal servant.
Servant.
hot damn. I
Yeah.
mean, he
And
was the final character in the Castlevania series.
yeah, he was
Yeah.
the big bad in season 4.
Mhm.
Yes.
But he was trying to bring back Dracula in a very bastardized way.
Yeah,
Mm.
because with Dracula back on Earth, the Dracula would be causing all kinds of death and essentially feeding
Death.
the death. He's gonna be forever hungry, so he
Yeah.
can forever eating. He's got all you can eat buffet with Dracula on board.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah, that's why I think he latches onto him because he's the key to all the life,
Yes.
the death that he can consume, or however the way he works.
My predictions of what's gonna happen in season 3 and 4 is season 3 is gonna have it's how do I put this in the video games Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. There's a 4 or 5 year time skip. There's a time gap between those two. I believe season 3 will use that time skip to do whatever they want, build more on the relationship between Richter and Annette, build on the growth of Maria as a summoner, and then her budding relationship with Alucard. And who else knows what other characters they're going to introduce? Maybe they'll give finally a backstory or like even more development with Edward.
So
And then
we'll get to see what happened during that time period then.
yeah, it's going to be completely like original because there is no real story in that time
Oh,
gap
look at
in
that.
video games.
This is their
And
chance to kind of
it's
like
kind
put
of
in their
like,
own taste.
Yeah,
Their own twist.
to flex their creativity.
but they kind of did that with like season 3 and the first Castlevania series as well.
Yeah, but season 3 was also kind of like a slow burn from the original series.
Mm.
It was, but it was also setting up a lot of things for season 4.
And if they follow the same formula, that's what they're going to do with Nocturne. They're going to
Yeah.
set it up so that season 4 could be an adaptation of Symphony of the Night.
Oh, look at that.
Although I would say, like in the original series, like season 3 was like one of my favorites, even though it was a slow burn, is because that's when you really get to learn about Isaac. And that's another thing I didn't like about this series so far with Nocturne is that there is no character like Isaac, where the more you watch the series, the more interesting the character becomes.
Yeah, true. because Isaac in the Castlevania series, in the animated series, is a complete 180 from how he is in the video game.
Yeah.
In the video game, he's a stereotypical anime bad guy with
With the
BDSM leather outfit.
Yeah.
Whereas,
It's funny you say that because I was listening to the review that we did on season 1, and you almost said it word for word just now, Omar, because that was what you guys had said
yeah,
in the
because
first one.
that's all he did. But the Isaac in the animated series was more stoic. He was more well developed. He was a completely different background, but different origin.
And not only that, he started with like one major objective, and that was to help Dracula. And then after Dracula dies, like he becomes lost, and you see him on this journey of what he should do, where he should go, what his new objective should be.
I think what sparked that journey though is because Dracula saved Isaac.
Yeah.
Because Isaac said that he would sacrifice his human soul or his human life, his temporary life, for Dracula's immortal life. He is a willing subservient.
Damn.
He's just willing.
Yeah.
Dracula's like, dude, you deserve to live more than I do. Get the fuck away. And he just teleported him out to safety. And that basically started Isaac's grandiose, and I mean grandiose, fucking character development.
Yeah. And like in Nocturne, we don't really have a character like that as of yet. I hope we do, because it's always fun and enjoyable, and it makes a show enjoyable. Even with like a slow burn season, like you can still enjoy it if you have at least one character like Isaac.
And that's what I'm hoping that what they do in season 3, they follow that same formula and you use that with Edward.
That would be cool. Okay. I do want to see more from Edward. I did not like how, like I said, to me, he was a one-note character.
Yeah, he was annoying.
He was, no, it was just like, oh, he was an opera singer, and that's where they left it.
He gave me like a little Enoch vibes. Not in the sense that he was like this, grandiose, is annoying, thinks he's all that, but kind of like he took the tortured soul aspect and he kind of just like overplayed it. And I found that just really annoying.
There is one question that I've been like that kind of like comes to mind when I rewatch the series, is that his singing was what helped some of the night creatures regain their memories.
I noticed that, yeah.
So maybe
one of the characters that happens to her.
Because Edward is an original character for the series.
Okay.
They did not mention any backstory from him aside from the fact that he's an opera singer. And he has no real magic powers or no magical background.
Yeah. And then he ended up saving Annette.
He sacrificed himself to save Annette.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they first met, too.
Oh, yeah, that too. Because
that is true.
Annette was a slave, for those of you who haven't watched it. She was a slave growing up in the Caribbean. He was an opera singer. He basically, when the slave owners were trying to chase Annette, she ran into his dressing room and hit
her.
And then freaking Edward, when he stopped her pursuers, he's like, if you don't have any business being in my room, get the hell out.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked him in the first season because even though he came off as this cocky, kind of arrogant SOB, he was a very kind, caring individual, and he was willing to stand up against anybody who wanted to either harm somebody.
He was part of the resistance over in their hometown.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. What's some of the things you hope for in the next season, Matt?
Well,
or did you kind of already said them?
No, well, like one thing I like going back to, like something I really enjoyed was towards the end of this series, of this season, and that's when we get to see Alucard go full power and like really tap into the powers that he inherited from his father. And so it'd be great to see more of that with Alucard. And obviously I want to see like way better. Okay, so like this was also like a small thing that kind of I didn't feel like it lived up to the expectation of like season 2 of the original Castlevania, and that is when Alucard, Sypha, and Trevor kicking Dracula's castle door and said, "What up?" And then Bloody Tears start playing, and they start whooping ass.
They
Like they
they
try that, they try to recreate that in with the big fight with Elizabeth, but it didn't like stand up as well. Or even like in season 4 when Sypha and Trevor jump through the infinite corridor and you see a giant fireball and the Morning Star whiz by Alucard's head out stagger at these. And then he's like, "Oh, about time you showed up." And they start whooping ass. Like
Mm,
they try to recreate that for this, and I don't and I want them to I want to see them give something up to the
yeah, that's
predecessor.
that's why I was asking if you were a little disappointed, Omar, because
no, I was gonna I kind of I actually enjoy that because they played Divine Bloodlines, which is Richter's theme song.
It
ah,
is
okay.
that's true. I mean, I had nothing wrong with the theme song, but I feel like the way they executed it wasn't as good.
It's
Mm,
because the thing is though in the original they had three characters to focus on and it was in an enclosed space.
that's true.
In Nocturne they at least had five to
Hmm.
focus.
Yeah,
And
That's right. Yeah.
they had an open field and they want to not only address like they want to showcase everybody's potential, everybody's ability and their fighting prowess, but they also want to make sure that it made sense with what they were doing.
Yeah.
So that's why you might think that it wasn't as like what did you think it was like sloppily done or something or
no, I just felt like it wasn't as grandiose.
You
it's only
wanted a
I,
big,
I think the reason why is
big
probably
Michael
because you
Bay
expect it
explosion.
now. You expect something from it because the first time it happened, it was
it was
completely
so fucking good.
yeah, it was completely unexpected.
It was over the top, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
It was over the
It
top in
was
a
very
good
Fast and
way.
Furious, like
Mhm.
explosions everywhere. And then freaking Simon with the Morning Star, just like, I don't even
No.
know what he did, but he's just
Trevor.
like, Trevor, he's just standing still, and all of a sudden the Morning Star is just like, psh.
Yeah, because the Morning
But
Star fucking just causes splash damage all the
Dude,
time.
that thing,
yeah,
that scene, like going on that scene, like I remember, I don't know why I was thinking, there's a thing that what's his name in Devil May Cry could do where he's just standing there, and then all of a sudden a bunch of blades just zoom
you
all
Oh,
over
you're
the
mean
talking
place.
about
Virgil?
no, he's talking
Virgil.
about well, it could be either Virgil or Dante in Devil May Cry 4. Dante has his weapon called Lucifer
Mm-hmm.
that looks like a backpack
Yeah,
and it shoots out a bunch of red swords all over the
exactly. Yeah,
place.
but that scene reminded me of something like that, and then another also in that one game I also like Stellar Blade where she's just standing still and a bunch of blades just come out of nowhere and hack everything into pieces. But I think that's what Matt is talking about, and
Yeah.
that's why I was asking like, were you a little disappointed by that? But I guess you
No,
liked it.
Well, I
I
mean,
liked it.
like the overall fight scene was really good. It was really well done. How they're showcasing. I'm just talking about like at the very beginning when stuff is
Hmm.
about to kick off. It just like
Mm-mm.
I felt like they could have done it a little bit better because even though we got to see it in season 2 of Castlevania when they recreated it and brought it back in season 4, like they kind of topped it with Sypha and Trevor jumping through the infinite corridor, and then it looked like Alucard was having a hard time, and his buddies show up, and then like you feel the confidence, you feel the empowerment, and then they just
Well,
go off.
Matt, you also got to consider that in the original series, Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard were a party. They were
That's true. They
they were your
had that
typical
connection.
RPG. They're your typical RPG party. Whereas in Nocturne, Alucard didn't know these people very well. He didn't know their
Yeah.
prowess. He didn't know what they were capable of. So they couldn't have that same
Teamwork.
exactly like they did with
That's
Trevor
true.
and Sypha. And
Um,
God, those fucking fight choreography is
the
just
the the fight scene in episode 3, um, with Annette and Richter. What did you guys think of that scene?
When they're in the woods.
Yeah, you
I
guys think
thought
of
that
that?
was really cool.
I actually like that one a little better because not only did were they playing off of each other, but that choreography you were talking about, Omar, was really well shown in that one.
yes, exactly.
Especially his combat prowess where he's doing hand to hand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because
He
he
is the
actually,
real Castlevania.
and then there's one particular scene which was really awesome, and I think I know, I think you'll know which one I'm talking about, where he has the whip coiled up
Mm-hmm.
and he turns it into ice.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that scene was bad. See, I don't know why I like that one better because even though it was a simple scene, it was still pretty badass.
because it may have been simple, but the actions that he took
Hmm.
were very ingenious.
Oh yeah, like
It's
because
out of the box, like it's very
yeah, and then Annette just like showing up out of nowhere, kind of having his back. I love how they have each other's back at all times, which is why I think they can kind of go all out when they're really
Mhm.
giving it out.
They have that
Because
unspoken communication with each other when it comes to combat.
yeah, especially Annette with her ability to turn a stone into metal, basically, that's his shield right there.
Yep.
He's got his
She's an
six at all times.
earthbender.
Hell yeah, a badass
But
airbender.
Tough.
so speaking of that like final fight scene, I like how after Adultra becomes a night creature, she's a legit fucking problem for Alucard.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude. That's why I was so disappointed with Elspeth being the main villain. I'm like, you have this
Yeah,
chick right here who is one of the
that's
most
yeah.
badass villains I've seen to date, and
and like their
on,
fight scene alone
on
was
top of that, she's
fucking
immune to
awesome.
sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is she, and what kind of irked me is that
Kitty.
she's obsessed with this lady. It's like, Your
Mhm.
Highness, I am here to serve you. Girl, get up, get up.
It's all that trauma she suffered
Yeah, I
in
know.
the past.
Yeah.
She's like, I need my goddess.
What about you, Lane? Like, are you looking forward to the next season? Or are you kind of like not even you're not even gonna
I
bother
don't
with
know.
it?
I mean, I'll watch it. No, I'm gonna watch it, obviously. Like I
Yeah.
was saying, it's just there was just things about the I was really excited about the second season because I really liked the first season a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
liked all the characters. I liked that. I mean, whatever. People can say whatever, but I fucking hate centering stories around love interest. It bothers me. And I like that in the game.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the first season because it wasn't. And I think that's what was one of the biggest problems with the first seasons of Castlevania is like Trevor and Sypha, like as they made them like a thing, that fucking series went down the shit. They made her a horrible character. She was so annoying for an entire whole season.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fixed her on the last season and made her
Yep.
not annoying, but then it wouldn't matter because that was the final season anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm just okay, well, if hopefully this doesn't replay like the third season of Castlevania where
Mm-hmm.
it's about to get real dumb.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what they do because
So
Omar
I'm just
mentioned, this
nervous
is
about
this is
it.
their
Yeah.
chance to basically do whatever they want as a filler. So here's hoping they use that to like kind of flesh out their characters a little better. And even though
Well,
they
yeah.
are finally fleshing out the romantic uh dynamic between Richter and Annette, I feel like they're doing it in a way that these people aren't codependent on each other, but they are
Mhm.
there if they need each other. Like
Mhm.
Richter, you see him already going like, like he's being reluctant because stoic here and all that torture soul.
Mm-hmm.
He's being
He's a
reluctant because
virgin.
and
That's
That's why. That's
he's
why I don't
just
know how to talk to a girl.
yeah, he
Never
don't
seen
talk
a
they're
titty
not
before,
there's
Like
one
he
scene
doesn't
that
know
I
what he's
thought was really
doing. He's
cute
just
and
a
wholesome,
virgin.
and that's when she grabs his hand. She grabs his hand and he's like red because he doesn't know what to do or say. And he doesn't know why. There's a reason why she grabs his hand, but he doesn't know why. He thinks she's just being cute. And he goes like,
this big ass
like,
badass
what are you,
macho dude.
13, dude?
Yeah, yeah. So
Big
I
red,
mean,
big eyes,
yeah.
red face. It was cute.
Well, they're gonna eat you alive.
And then they
And
flip.
I just have a feeling that season three, it's gonna just be two different fucking love stories going on. It's gonna be Richter and Annette's love story, their whole thing, but then they're gonna fucking do this whole stupid dumbass puppy dog love story with Marie and Alucard.
Oh
And
God,
if
I
they
hope
do
not.
that, it's
It,
gonna be
it's
so
game lore.
dumb.
Oh, it's game lore.
The thing is though,
So if they do it, it's gonna be so stupid. So I hope they don't go that route, honestly, because it's gonna, I don't know.
I mean, is it pivotal to the lore and the overall story of the franchise?
it depends on the ending of the game, but in the
Oh, there's different
games,
endings. Nice.
yeah, in the games
Just
in
too.
Symphony of the Night where Alucard and Maria first meet, Maria's already like 18.
Ah, okay.
And then Alucard, well, despite the fact that he's literally 400 something years old or so at the time,
Yeah.
he's physically he's like 18,
21,
19,
I think.
yeah, something like that too. But depending on the story, because she's pivotal to giving you items within the game,
Okay.
um, whether if they become a couple or not, there's different branches, different theories as to what happens because there's no real direct follow up.
Correlation.
Yeah, there's no direct follow up from Symphony of Night to the next game, which is Order of Ecclesia in the timeline,
Okay.
because there's a gap between. Because the thing about the vampire killer is that it can only be wielded by a Belmont or someone who's related to a Belmont.
Okay.
And in the time gap between well, in the events after Symphony Night, which the next game would be Order of Ecclesia, there's no Belmont around to wield the vampire killer. So that's why they have the glyph users.
Okay.
So what happens from there between the relationship with Maria and Alucard is still up in the air.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying in season 3 they could use that time gap, that 4 or 5 year time gap between Rondo of Blood and Symphony Night to age up Maria to proper age, just 2 years even, because she's 16 in the show. She'll be 18. 2 years later, she's already she will be a master at summoning her creatures now.
Yeah, she is.
Because she'll be having training from not only Alucard but Juice as well.
Oh yeah, I forget Juice was a pretty pivotal character in this one too.
Yep.
Like he's shown a little bit in this one.
It's because you see his character development. You see a lot of character development in season 2.
Yeah.
Um,
But going back to what Lane was saying, the relationship between Alucard and Maria is not essentially pivotal to the story wise because there's no results of it afterwards down the timeline, but it's something that happens in lore.
If they do it, here's hoping they do a better job of it, of like kind of fleshing it out and making it believable. Granted, we've already seen a story of a girl falling in love with a vampire, and people liked it.
Yeah, except Alucard's not a sparkly piece of shit.
He's kind of shiny though. Like that pale face of him makes him and his hair shines too.
That's just the art style.
Yeah, and he's got lovely.
That's kind of annoying, to be honest.
That Final Fantasy art style.
Yeah.
Jen, as somebody who doesn't know much of the franchise, and you're like coming into it kind of like I did in our first review of Nocturne, when we were talking about the series, like she's a fan of vampires, but this series for whatever reason never really grabbed her attention. It never grabbed my attention because I it's fantasy and I prefer sci-fi. But do you think you're a little more inclined to watch the series now, or like check out the series?
Well, now hearing the backstory of some of these characters, it kind of is pulling me in now.
If you were to just watch one that I would recommend, just watch Castlevania, the first season of Castlevania.
Well, that's what I wanted to do because I'm like, I wanted to do.
I feel like out of all of it, that's the best one. Like out of all of them, that's the best season.
When you say the first season of Castlevania, do you mean just like season 1 or season 1 and 2?
Season 1 and 2, when they, when Dracula, you see him, and then Alucard takes him out. Those two are the best in the entire franchise. Not just because one, you get to see the origin and all that, but just like the acting is so damn good, and there's so much funny stuff in there too. Like with not Richter. Why I keep calling him Richter?
Trevor.
Simon, right? No, Trevor and Alucard constantly bickering, and then them flipping each other one scene.
Hey, Jen, one of the characters in Castlevania season 2 is voiced by Peter Stormare.
Oh yeah, I forget he's in this. Yeah,
Godbrand.
And that's another
the best vampire.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch just the first, definitely just watch the first 2 seasons, because like my God, man, like even watching it again, it's just like.
And then I saw you watching the first one, and I was kind of intrigued by the regular story.
It's just like he's such a he's such a good character in this
season
series.
4. One of the characters is voiced by Malcolm McDowell.
I forget who that is.
A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that crazy bastard.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, going back to what you were saying about how Alucard was tapping into his father's side of the powers.
Mm-hmm.
That scene heavily reminded me of Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
I was
When
thinking that too. Omar,
when
when he
D was
goes,
fighting against Carmilla,
when he
and
goes like Earth Form 8 unlocked.
no,
That's Helsing.
Helsing, yes,
no.
that
Thinking
scene
about
reminded me of that scene.
No, I'm thinking about Vampire Hunter D, the movie Bloodlust. Do you remember the scene where they're entering? They enter Carmilla's castle.
Yes.
D is transported into a different realm with Carmilla's ghost, and
Right.
she starts blasting him with some freaking black lightning, whatever. You see D's face just like morphing into his vampire form, his eyes turning blood red, and his fangs just drawing
Getting longer.
Yeah, and then he fucking bursts out the Dracula power and it fucking destroys Carmilla.
No, for me, that scene reminded me of that Helsing scene where you see what's his name, like really show who he really is, you know.
Well, Alucard in Alucard in Helsing is Dracula.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like that scene reminded me of that scene.
Anyway, like I want them to have a death battle with Vampire Hunter D versus Castlevania Dracula or Castlevania Alucard.
That'd be
I was gonna say like Castlevania Dracula. But anyways,
he bodies them. He bodies both of them.
Well, he bodies everyone because it's somehow insanely powerful.
The only reason Alucard was able to kill him is because the man broke down and basically gave up.
Yeah, well, yeah, his dad let him.
That's what I'm saying. He let him beat him. He wasn't gonna win. He was not gonna win.
Mind you, Dracula was starved for an entire year at that point.
And he was still kicking their ass.
Dude, yeah,
dude, even like Dracula could have easily, like, with the flick of his wrist, taken him out. He could have bodied Elizabeth, like starving.
Yeah, and while starving, yeah.
Imagine if he was full and he was at full power.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, well, we did see that. Remember when he's basically telling the city folk, "You have a year to leave," and he
was still like
he was still starved.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, damn! That's crazy.
Because when he met Lisa,
he touched blood. Yeah. I thought he started drinking after she died.
Even like I don't remember if it's Hector or Isaac who he was talking to, but he tells a story about like of who he used to be. If you remember Omar, like when he goes and kills like a bunch of people and he talks about how he enjoyed it. That's when he was who he was and he was drinking human blood. But never once during the whole entire series you see Dracula's true power.
I think he was talking to Hector in that scene because he was at cottage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was Hector.
Any last thoughts, you guys?
Oh,
I could keep talking about Castlevania.
I know you can.
There is. I want to say there's a Dragon Ball reference in Castlevania at the very end. I'll give you a hint. Goku Black or Zamasu. Think about it with Trunks.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a Dragon Ball reference.
No,
I feel like it was.
That's referencing a sword that you can get in Arya of Sorrow. It's the most powerful holy sword. It's a giant great sword. Wow. Yeah, it's a reference to one of the more powerful holy swords you can get.
But the way they did it, it reminded me of DBS.
I thought of Trunks' spirit sword, but I also thought about the Moonlight Greatsword from the Bloodborne, Dark Souls.
That too.
It gave me Melania vibes from Elden Ring. Any other final thoughts, you guys, from anybody else?
I just want to say shout out to the gay vampires that really served no purpose the whole fucking series, but they were there for representation. Because literally,
for the record, all vampires are
guys. But like these ones were blatantly like
they were gay.
Yeah. Right. Are you talking about Orlox and his lover?
And his human lover who
his little pet.
But like neither of those characters really, like, if they weren't in the series, it wouldn't have fucking changed a damn thing.
No, not in this season. In the first season, the Orlox actually helped out a little bit.
I mean, he was the reason Richter's
In this
whatever the
one,
fuck
he was
he
just
is.
there.
He killed Richter's mom, right?
He
So
was
Yeah.
he
just there
does
to
serve a
Jesus
save
is
her.
purpose.
trauma.
But like realistically, what did he do for Elizabeth?
Nothing. He
Nothing.
was yakety
Nothing.
yak.
He, wa-
He was
He
yakety
be,
yak the
he
whole time.
betrays
Exactly.
he
he was his own
betrays her in the
person.
He
end.
just doesn't really do anything except
Nah.
for kill Richter's mom to set Richter up for that whole fucking
Yeah.
trauma as
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I still
and
like his character,
and
especially
for that no,
the
I
voice.
love his character.
Mhm.
I'm not saying he shouldn't be there.
just
I'm
didn't-
saying thank God that he is there.
The
And I
token
love that
gay
he
vampire.
didn't really serve any real solid purpose, especially his boyfriend,
That's true. Oh yeah.
right? And then like they had like their moment at the end and I was like, "Yeah, you
No, but when
get it."
Orox came in to save to provide
Mhm.
backup, that was still pretty sick.
Yeah,
It
no, that was
was.
cool. I mean, he had his moments, you know what I mean? But like I'm also saying like if he had gone off and done something after season 1 and then wasn't there for season 2, it wouldn't have changed anything.
No, it
Yeah,
wouldn't have.
exactly.
It wouldn't have changed the story at all. Like it still would have been the same.
Like he
Like
could have just came back for that one scene towards the
That's
final
true,
battle.
yeah.
And that's it.
yeah.
Then that's it. That's all you needed for.
Yeah, so shout out to the taking up space and doing nothing just for holding representation.
Well, he did provide some
I
form of
love it.
exposition to that one character that we were mentioning earlier, Old Man
Yes.
Coyote.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's really
Yeah.
He's just here.
He's
to
the
set
first
up
one that
character.
acknowledges that character, I'm pretty sure.
Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
knew about him, right? Like he was
Yeah.
aware
Yeah.
of who and what he
He's
was.
familiar
He
with
pretty
them.
much
Yeah.
gives
Mhm.
like what that character is.
Yeah. One
Essentially,
particular scene
so.
I liked, and it made me laugh internally because it's such a slide to U.S. history, and I'm just gonna say the line that he said, and I hope you guys kind of get it. Yes, when one of your European ancestors came over, they infected me with the and turned me into what I am now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
Cortez and freaking the syphilis or what was it?
basically, yeah, basically, dude.
Yeah, I
That's
caught
Pox
that
covered
too.
blankets.
I caught that one too.
When he said that, I'm like, oh, where has that happened before?
Mhm.
And
That
just the
sounds
way, but just the way
familiar.
he said it, and then he said it to the European.
Mhm.
You just gotta love it when anime just like pokes fun at U.S. history, you know, like
Yo,
our
Anime
history.
has a huge
Dumbest
fucking
history.
has a huge
Mhm.
fucking thing about poking fun of Americans.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, fucking look at G Gundam.
Anything else, you guys? Anything else to add? Or are we good?
Keep watching the series because we
Yeah.
want to make sure that the company and Netflix continues to see that there's a fan base for it and they want more. Because I
Yeah.
want to see Symphony of the Night get remade, and I want them to. 'Cause
Yeah,
there's
I
no-
was looking into it, and the last game when made was in 2014. It's been a minute since they made a new game.
I think they just recently made an announcement that there might be a new Castlevania game in the works.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
But
About
But
time.
dude, 10 years, man. It's been a minute.
longer.
Like they got
Longer,
and it's
way
crazy
I
because
think Lord of Shadows was the last one they did.
that's the one. Mhm.
Yeah. I want people to keep watching the series, and because there's a
Revitalize the
possibility.
franchise, yeah.
Yes, revitalize the franchise, and maybe we could finally get the game that everybody's been clamoring for, and that's the 1999 Demon War, which is
Mm.
Julius Belmont's grand finale, like grandstand. That's where Dracula is finally destroyed,
Mhm.
gone,
Okay.
donezo.
Okay.
What
And then
were you
it will
gonna say,
lead
Jen?
into Aria of Sorrow.
Nice. What
Yeah.
were you gonna say,
But
Jen?
No, I just wanted them to clarify something because I was reading something about the games when I was digging,
Mhm.
and it looked like they're saying that, like, I can't believe because you were saying that it doesn't really get any love, right? The
It
games don't get
doesn't.
you
any
gotta you gotta
recognition,
think
but
about
yet,
No, I'm not
what
saying that it doesn't get love
company.
from the fans. The fans love the game. I'm
yeah,
saying the
I'm saying,
studios.
yeah,
The
because
studios
I was
show
looking
little
into
to no
this
love.
thing and it looked like it was critically acclaimed, like the soundtrack. Can you guys vouch for that? Like
Yes.
the soundtrack
Oh my
and
god! Okay, so
It's one of the best
and
soundtracks
the
out there
and
for any.
apparently it did something about the how the gameplay works, the mechanics of the gameplay.
no, not in the Castlevania series.
No, that's more of Devil May Cry.
Yeah. But the music of Castlevania is amazingly beautiful. It's a mix between Baroque, classical, heavy metal, symphony
Mm.
metal, and just a perfect blend of it.
Yeah. They've
go
made
on
a piece of them.
go on Spotify and just listen to the music alone. Like just the music itself is fucking gorgeous, and then the artwork that they have, starting with again Symphony of the Night, because of that artist. I can't remember Michiru Amame, I think is her name.
Yeah, I think he also did Final Fantasy. Very
No,
Final Fantasy,
that's someone else. What's it different? That's Ayano or Aman something. I am very bad with Japanese names. I am sorry.
You should be. How dare you?
Wow.
But yeah, like that's what I was telling Jen. Like, despite the fact that these games have won awards and they were very popular and they sold well, the studios have shown almost no love to the franchise for keeping it alive.
Konami.
Yeah, Konami. But you would think that a flagship like this would get more attention, and they
You know how
decide
many?
to.
Do you know how many flagship games that Konami has, like
Oh yeah.
Metal Gear?
No, but
And
I'm saying this is one of their biggest flagship titles in their company. Like,
yeah,
you
but
cannot.
like think about where the company went. That's what I'm getting at. They decided to stop making video games and make stupid fucking slot machines, I believe, or
Yeah,
some stupid
arcades.
shit like
Yeah,
that. And also
they went with
they
the
went
arcade style.
and they also decided to make phone app games.
Yeah.
That's like what their decision was. They're like, you know, that's fuck all this other shit.
Hey,
Yeah,
but
but
what you can't blame them though. Well, it's not saying that they haven't been giving attention to the series, because they did re-release Bloodlines, or not Bloodlines, Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night and Castlevania Requiem for
Mhm.
current.
I have that.
I have it too. They also released the classic Castlevania collection on current consoles,
I have that.
and they released the advanced collection on current consoles, all current consoles.
Mhm.
I
And
have
then
that too.
they just released the Dominus collection, which is the DS games of Castlevania on all consoles, and I still need to buy that one.
Mhm.
Me too. That's the only one I don't have.
But you've yet to see a brand new IP though. Like,
Yeah, but I
where
think
we see a new title for a game, like, Doom, even though it's a franchise that is spanned decades, they're at least getting a new IP once every couple of years now. For a
Doom
franchise like Castlevania to not get a new IP, it's crazy.
But think that Doom, like, it's very basic in terms of story lore and gameplay, right? Whereas in Castlevania, there is a rich lore behind the whole series.
Maybe
There's
they just don't have the writers to tackle it.
Yeah, they have the timelines that they could follow, or they have a ability, like options to go off into and veer off into different tangents of said timelines. But what I'm assuming they're doing is testing the waters to see if there's still any interest by releasing these collections. It's just what Capcom did with Devil May Cry. They released the HD collection multiple times. They released the special editions of Devil May Cry 4. Switch has Devil May Cry's 1, 2, and 3 available. And then they announced 10 years after Devil May Cry 4, the release of Devil May Cry 5. And look at the amazing response that Devil May Cry 5 got.
Yeah. Do you guys think? Okay.
I was just gonna say, like, it's possible that Konami is probably taking Capcom's idea and going forward with their own.
What I think it is that Konami has heard everyone bitch about them, and that's why we're getting the remaster of Snake Eater.
Yeah.
And so therefore they're like, all right, if Snake Eater does really well, let's go back to making console video games. I think that's their plan. I think that's where that company's gonna head.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
What are you gonna say, Jen?
Yeah.
Do you guys think that if they see enough like interest with the shows now, that they might be inclined to give them, like another game, like a new game?
That's what I'm hoping.
Hopefully.
Hell, I would fucking love a game that's based specifically on the show. Like, use those character models, those character designs, the lore of that was established in the show. If that's the new Castlevania game that they're gonna launch or announce, fuck it, I'm all for it. Make sure it's on current consoles, and I'll fucking take it. I'll double dip in it. I'll get it for my Switch and PS4 and 5.
Yeah, you got to do that nowadays.
Yeah. But, cross-platform or cross-play, please.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, like, for a franchise that's been around for what, almost 20 years?
Longer, 30.
30?
Since
Almost 40,
1986.
dude.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
hopefully this is the beginning of a revitalization for it because the writing's on the wall. The fans like the series. The fans that grew up this series still like the series. I don't know if it's gotten any new fans. I think maybe the show has helped with that. But for sure, the OG fans like you and you, Omar, you, Matt, you guys who have stayed loyal to it, they're still there.
And
And they've been
Konami, if you
clamoring
need
for
a
it.
game writer, if you need a story writer, I'm
Yeah,
right here
Konami, Omar's available.
because I could revitalize Legacy of Darkness
There you
and
go.
that werewolf character much better gameplay.
There you go.
Hey,
You
why
know
not?
me.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
We'll post his resume on the video description for this one.
Oh hell yeah, let's go.
I'll also post the link to the first review we did for Nocturne. And in the comments, folks, if you guys want to hear Omar and Matt do a review of the first Castlevania, let us know as well. Because if I can say that it's a good season, even though I could care less for the franchise, like it's not my forte. I don't dislike it. It's just not my taste. But that season, that first two season, oh my goodness, like
It's
it'll
okay if you combine season 1 and 2 together, considering season 1 is just 4 episodes.
Yeah,
true,
and it does, but in those 4 episodes, does a
Mhm.
fantastic
dude.
job setting up the plot.
It
He did
does.
such a great job with that. Like
Um,
those 4 episodes, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna end badly for all of you guys,
yeah,
for all of you, and I'm okay with it.
Hey,
lies in your house of
In your
God.
house, oh my god. But that's gonna be it for this episode, folks. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you're on Spotify, please give a like and a follow. As always, make sure you check out Maono. It's our go-to when it comes to recording our episodes. Everyone except Omar has a mic, is using a mic, but we'll
He has a
actually,
lapel mic.
yeah, he has a lapel mic, but regardless, it's our mic to go to. It's a very good product. They sell in over 150 countries, and they're not that expensive. And if you use code word media buff, you can get 10% off your first purchase. They actually have one new mic they just introduced. It's basically a one and all mic that is an XLR, a USB. You can actually connect it via Bluetooth to your phone. So if you want to record directly onto your phone, you can do that. It
Nice.
works with almost any device, even if you don't have an interface. Definitely a good product you can check out. I can leave the link on the description below. But regardless, check them out. We will be posting another episode next week. Check out our little 3 minute media 3 minute media episodes. We are gonna do one of every Monday as well. And with that being said, everybody said bye.
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 Goodbye, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone. Sweet dreams. Don't let the monsters get you.